Good morning and welcome along to Sports on the Weekend show. I am Monday Thomas and I'm pleased as sponge to take you around the world of sports this morning. But first off, what a week it was. A week we expected a remontada, but it ended up in a remonada. No pun intended, but it was a disappointing display by Real Madrid, the 15th-time UEFA Champions League champions, as Arsenal are through to the semi-finals for the first time since 2009. Before we head into the conversation, I'd like to have a review of what we saw from Sunday to this time, as we are also expecting some blockbuster encounter in the UEFA Champions League. On Monday, it was world number 2, Carlos Alcaraz. They say there is always a first time for everything. He won the Monte Carlo Masters for the first time, beating Italian top seed Lorenzo Musetti in the final. Currently, Alcaraz is through to the semi-finals of the Barcelona Open, where he's going to be taking on Frenchman Arthur Fils after knocking out Australian top seed Alex de Minaur. On Monday, the world celebrated World Goalkeeper Day and left us with a question: who is the greatest goalkeeper in history? Tuesday and Wednesday saw some blockbuster results in the UEFA Champions League, and we'll definitely talk about it on the show. How about Thursday? Melodrama at the Theatre of Dreams. Manchester United becoming the first club in the history of European major club football to score 2 goals in the 120th minutes of extra time. And on Friday, the whole world celebrated Szczęsny as he celebrated his 35th birthday. Some interesting facts about him: in August 2024, he had retired after failing to secure a contract with Juventus. 2 months later, he got signed up by Barcelona, and so far, it's been a fantastic run for him. 22 games unbeaten as a Barcelona goalkeeper, and many people are wondering, when Stegen returns from injury, is he going to take Szczęsny's place? We'll get to talk about that on the show. Saturday, of course, Liverpool could be crowned the champions of the EPL for just the second time in history if Arsenal lose against Ipswich on Sunday. I won't be doing this alone. Joining me is a considerable help of my friend, MC Sam. Great to have you, MC.
Yeah, my pleasure being here.
All right, so let's quickly talk about the failed remontada. I'd like to have that particular shenanigans by Madrid in the Santiago Bernabeu. The failed remontada where we saw the antics. I mean, Real Madrid coming out to reminding the Arsenal fans and as well as Arsenal players that they are the 15-time champions. They came out with, since it's Easter, let's use the word chariot, right? They came out with stallions, they came out with unicorns, they came out with some great power bikes, pretty-much formalities just to demoralize the Gunners. But what do you think happened to Real Madrid on the day?
The truth is, I wish they had visions. They saw the vision that they were going to lose. I believe they were sneaked into the stadium. They were feeling like they was definitely going to beat us. I remember my boss, Mr. Andy, was like, okay, if you people win, I'll be happy. I know deep down in his heart, he's not happy that Arsenal won because he's kind of not happy that we're doing well. He's a Chelsea fan. No, Chelsea people, they are not supporting. But the truth is, I was so sure we're not going to lose to Madrid. I was so sure. But most people were like, Madrid could do a comeback, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, they couldn't say anything. My boss congratulated me. That's one thing. I'm happy he even started the show. He also congratulated us, which I'm grateful to God for.
All right, maybe we'll have you an Arsenal fan. Maybe we need to have Mr. Andy on our next show for him to also talk about how he feels and also about Chelsea. Chelsea are not doing so badly. They are through to the semi-finals of the Europa Conference League. But let's quickly have a look at the UCL last 4 standings. We know that PSG will be taking on Arsenal this month on the 29th, the first leg at the Emirates Stadium. And of course, we'll get to see the second game where Inter Milan will host Barcelona, and as well as some Europa League semi-finals. We saw Manchester United with a masterful performance at the Old Trafford. Let's talk Europa League right now. Manchester United will be taking on Athletic Bilbao, and that is going to be next month as well. Tottenham Hotspur also through to the semi-finals. They will be taking on Bodo Glimt of Norway. So we have 4 English teams, 3 English teams in the semi-finals of top European competitions this season. But now let's talk about the melodrama before we get to have a feel of the game of the week. The game of the week was supposed to be that game at the Santiago Bernabeu, but something happened on Thursday. Manchester United becoming the first club in the history of European football not to just score 2 goals in the 120 minute, but to score 3 goals in extra time. That was remarkable. They went down by 2 goals. They were leading by 2 goals when the game started. In the first half, they scored by Dalot and as well as Ugarte opened up the scoring for them. But later on, they lost that 2-goal lead, leading to extra time. Lacazette scored the second goal in extra time for Lyon to make it 4-2. What do you think happened to Manchester United? They looked possessed on the night.
The truth is, they were so surprising. They were so shocking, because the honest truth is, I think you can't just define their gameplay, their game style now, because mine are just shocking. And the funny part is Maguire became like a superstar. Now Maguire, and this is not the first time he's doing this thing, so I think they should just convert him to a top 9. They should convert Maguire to a top 9, because it does help Manchester United. Most Man U fans that I knew, they left where they were watching ball. They gave up already. And I feel there's one boy that the camera picked during the match. He was praying, crying. I don't know if you remember, he was just hitting his head. I feel God just answered this prayer, because I can't just explain how they scored 120, 121, and no, that's so shocking. Man U surprised
we're
us.
in a season of miracles, and if you say God answered Manchester United's prayers, I've got to agree with you. Melodrama, and now let's have the game of the week. We can just have a quick highlight of what we saw at the Old Trafford. A worthy game of the week by every aspect of a very exciting week of sport. I mean, European football was where we saw all the excitement, and of course on Thursday, Manchester United wrapping that particular one for us. Now let's talk about the weekend and what to expect. Let's have a feel of the business end, the fixtures, the running, the 33rd week of action in the English Premier League, as we are expecting some crucial encounter. Liverpool could be crowned the champions of England for just the second time in history if Arsenal fail to get a point, or if Arsenal lose all 3 points against Ipswich tomorrow. But later on today, we'll get to see Everton versus Manchester City at the Goodison Park, and also get to see the biggest game, in my opinion, for today, Aston Villa at the Villa Park taking on Newcastle. Talking about Aston Villa, they also put up a show on Tuesday, but it wasn't just to be for them, as they were knocked out by PSG 4-3 on aggregate. Manchester United will be in action against Wolves, and many Manchester United fans will expect that they keep up with that performance that we saw 2 nights ago at the Old Trafford. So it's certainly going to be a great one today. Liverpool, if they can get all 3 points tomorrow against Leicester City at the King Power Stadium, they will be crowned champions, and that means Arsenal will have to lose all 3 points against Ipswich.
I feel it's almost impossible for Arsenal to lose against Ipswich. It's almost impossible. But let's not be. Let me not be biotic. Let me be realistic. I feel Liverpool won the league already.
All right, Liverpool have won the league already, so Arsenal should give up and possibly.
No, we're not going to lose.
Okay, but I mean, Premier League or UEFA Champions League, which one do you think is more tenable?
I feel
which one is the biggest?
Champions League, definitely.
Champions League is indeed the biggest, because Arsenal have indeed won the Premier League time and time again, but they've never won the UEFA Champions League. That's all we've got time for on Sports on the Weekend show. I remain Monday Thomas, and I did this with Mr. Sam.